The FBI director gets a 10-year term for specific reasons so that he's beyond partisan politics and goes over and beyond even two-term presidents. And there are certain standards by which that person can be fired, and they are not that you're firing a person because they weren't your lackey or didn't pledge allegiance to you or fealty. And those are things that I think are relevant and we should look into. And I'd like to ask the chair if he wouldn't consider asking Mr. Comey to come to this committee and looking into the issues surrounding the firing of the director of the FBI.
The gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
The fact of the matter is that is the purpose of the special counsel has been appointed, and I think it would be inappropriate for this committee to interfere with that investigation. We are going to get a classified briefing tomorrow from the Deputy Attorney General on that matter that has already been scheduled prior to the time of the appointment of the special counsel. We'll proceed with that and see what is revealed by that. I trust you'll be in attendance tomorrow.
I will be in attendance, Mr. Chair. I would suggest that it's my understanding that the charge given to Mr. Mueller was to investigate leaks or work that the Russians or Russian government or Russian individuals might have been in collusion with Trump or the Trump campaign. And there is a catch-all where they could go to associated activities. Nothing in the charge directly goes to the firing of the FBI director. And while the president did on his second statement on why he fired him, he said he fired him because of Russia. The first statement was he fired him because he was coming to the defense of Secretary Clinton and the way she was treated by Mr. Comey. But even if he fired him because of the second reason, which is the one that seems to be the best rule, that he fired him because of Russia and the Russia investigation, that does not mean that the special prosecutor's charge is to look into that firing. He's supposed to look into collusion between the Russians and Trump. And so I still think it's relevant that we have this, and I don't know that Mr. Rosenstein will testify to that while he did give the first explanation, which was then put into the heap of garbage in the White House, saying it wasn't relevant, that's not why they fired him. Mr. Rosenstein wouldn't know what Mr. Comey's interactions were with the president, if the president pressured him, if the president asked him to give him his total loyalty and fealty, and if the president asked him to back off. So I still think it's relevant that it come to this committee.
The gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
The widely held view of those who have read the appointment of Mr. Mueller is that he has very broad jurisdiction to look into matters related to the underlying investigation that was already proceeding in the Department of Justice.
Let me ask the chair another question, just curious. I ventured over into your side of the committee room, the ante room, which I remember fondly when Mr. Conyers was chair, that we had large masses of food there and we had lots of room and TV, and it's a nice spread. We don't have that same spread now. We're kind of crampled. Occasionally you send us pizza, but we don't get much. But I've noticed 3 pictures on the wall that you chose, Mr. Chair, and I wish you'd edify the members on this side of the 3 pictures, the 3 presidents you chose and why they're there.
Getting very far afield from the bill that is before this committee, which I think is very popular on both sides of the aisle, but those 3 presidents are former members of the Judiciary Committee, and that's why they're hanging on the wall there.
Is there a room for Mr. Pence?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman.
For what purpose, the gentleman from Pennsylvania